Are you ready for a makeover to your favorite childhood favorite lunch? This is my healthy peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's I go to time and time again. I've been experimenting with this for quite a while, so I'm so glad that you joined me here today. And we're going to talk about some of my 5 favorite hacks to transform this into a healthy sandwich. So let's get started. It begins with bread. You know, white bread is basically just cake. We want to skip that. We're going to switch to a whole wheat bread. Here I'm actually using Ezekiel bread. It's high in fiber, high in protein, and it's actually got a low glycemic index, so that's really pretty healthy. Of course, you can use other kinds of whole wheat bread. You can use oat bread. I think even sourdough bread has some health benefits. So choose your breads wisely. Choose a bread that's going to add some benefit to your day. What I do, my favorite trick for using Ezekiel bread is it's kind of stiff because it needs to be refrigerated. So when I take it out of the fridge, I microwave it for like 15 seconds to make it a little bit more soft and pliable, and that makes it perfect. So let's move on to peanut butter because we need a peanut butter upgrade. That's what I say. This peanut butter, I always used to use the store-bought, creamy, homogenized peanut butter. But have you ever looked inside the ingredients? The number two, first of all, number one of it is roasted peanuts. That's what you would expect. But number two is sugar. And then beyond that, there is fully hydrogenated vegetable oils. I try to stay away from those when I can. So I decided to kind of ditch this silly homogenized. What's funny is when you switch to natural peanut butter and then you come back to this doesn't even really taste like peanut butter. I don't know. It's got a funny taste to it. So I have switched to natural peanut butter. This is a great brand, but I also oftentimes will use Kirkland, just whatever you can find that's affordable. Yeah, we like using that. But I think what you'll notice though is the problem with natural peanut butter is it's pretty runny. It's kind of goopy and it doesn't always work well in a sandwich. So what I like to do is add a little bit of hemp seed. And this is my favorite, my number one, superfood trick is we're going to add a little bit of hemp seed to this. And what I find is just a little bit thickens it up quite nicely. Now here I'm using a crunchy peanut butter. We just want to add just enough to get it thickened so that it can spread on the sandwich. We don't want it so thick you can't spread it, but not so thin that it's kind of goopy. So you can see there that immediately made that better. It's already much thicker, so that's it. And then let's move on. I'm going to assemble the sandwich in a minute, but let's move on to jelly because another thing I really used to love was store-bought jelly. And when you look at the ingredients, I'm just going to read off to you. Number one is sugar. No, I'm sorry. Number one is grape juice, corn syrup, and then high fructose corn syrup. So I don't know about you, but I'm trying to avoid high fructose corn syrup as much as I can, especially, when you read more about it and you realize it's really not very healthy for you. So I think there's a better way. And what I've used in this sandwich is actually strawberry. Strawberry is delicious, but you can use any of your favorite berries. And here we're just going to experiment with using blueberries. So just add a few blueberries to a bowl. That may be too many. And then I'm going to use a fork to just kind of give them a mash. You kind of have to coerce them into cooperating with you, but it works. And just mash away because we're trying to get the berries to release some of their juices. And the reason for that is because the juices is what we're going to work on to thicken. And I have a natural thickener that's going to make this into basically, forget high fructose corn syrup. This is going to be a superfood, a superfood jam. I guess that's what I'm going to try to say here. Yeah. So to that, I'm going to add just a smidge of maple syrup. We don't need to add a lot, just enough to kind of give it just a little bit of sweet flavor. Let's get that going in there. That's maybe like a half a teaspoon. Now, if you didn't want to add any maple syrup, you could just let the natural sweetness of the berries come out, or you could do a little bit of 0-calorie sweetener. That's what I oftentimes do, and it works just fine. Now, you can see that's pretty soft and pretty goopy. So what we're going to do is add some ground chia seeds. And if you don't know how to grind chia seeds, I've got a video on that. I'd love to share. I'll share it with you. It's easy to grind chia seeds, and what they do is they act as a wonderful thickener. And within seconds, maybe within minutes, I'm exaggerating, aren't I, honey? Yeah, within minutes, this is going to thicken up and it'll be a nice jam consistency. So yeah, what I love about this is that like I say, it's ready in minutes and it creates a nice thick, natural jam that you can add. Okay, so let's get to assembling this. One of my favorite tips is to keep your jelly from making your bread soggy is I put a little bit of peanut butter on both sides, on both pieces of bread. So I'm just going to spread that around. Now my fourth hack is I like to add some crunch factor, but you can see here I am using crunchy peanut butter. But if I wasn't, I would definitely have some pecans or any kind of nut that you really love and chop it up and add that to it to give your sandwich a little bit of crunch factor. But using crunchy peanut butter is a great way to do that. So just spreading a little bit of peanut butter across both slices of bread gives it makes it a little bit neater. And then the other trick is maybe not to, if you're really worried about it being a mess, is don't spread it all the way out to the edge. I'm doing that for today just because I love the look of it. It does look pretty when it comes out to the edge, but if you can try to avoid the edges, it won't be as messy when you go to bite into it. So then next we're going to add this chia jam, and my bread's going to fall off this plate here. So I'm just going to add it all on there. Look at that. And you know what? If you wanted to, I could totally see adding even some more fresh berries on there just because we can. And it just makes it look really pretty and taste delicious. So there we go. So I've added that. And then my fifth hack is finding other ways that you can add nutrients to your sandwich. So we've done a lot here. This is, believe it or not, has made a fairly healthy sandwich. But if you had some other, you wanted to really give it a big boost, I think adding a little bit of ground flaxseed would be nice. Just sprinkle it over the top. It adds kind of a nutty flavor if you don't add too much. Just a little sprinkle. Another thing would be to add some ground cinnamon. That would work really well. If you end up not wanting to make the chia jam, somebody else left a comment and said what they do is they add dried fruit like dried cranberry instead of the jam or a chia jam. So adding some dried fruit to this would be another great option. So that's it. So let's just close out this sandwich here and you can take a look at this. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? That is a healthy peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you're going to want to come back to time again. We have just changed. We have changed the PB&J from, not quite junk food, but definitely not anything that, you feel good about eating, to something that's like, oh yeah, this is not only crave worthy, but it's also delicious too. So let's talk about some questions that you might have, because if you're interested in maybe having this as a gluten-free option, you can use gluten-free bread. That would work just fine. Another question I think people might have would be options besides peanut butter, because if you have an allergy or you just want to switch up the flavors, I'm with you. You could use almond butter or cashew butter, or as a nut alternative, you could use sun butter. That works as well. So yeah, and if you don't have chia seeds to make your chia jam, you can also definitely switch to something like ground flaxseed would do the same thing. It will thicken up that jam just as nicely. So let's go over our 5 hacks again. It's the bread is number 1. Choose a good quality whole wheat bread to just transform this into something healthy. 2 is to improve your peanut butter. Don't stick with just homogenized peanut butter. Use natural and add some hemp seeds to it to give it that thickness that we are all craving. If you don't, another thing I think I might have forgotten to mention is peanut butter powder is another great way to thicken natural peanut butter. So, and that gives it a nice peanut protein boost. 3rd is the jam. Make sure you're using something like a chia jam or dried fruit in place of that yucky jelly. We don't want to use that with all the sugar and all the high fructose corn syrup. We want to avoid that. 4 was, what was 4? I think 4 was to add some crunch, that crunch factor. You know, here today I used crunchy peanut butter, but you can add chopped almonds or chopped pecans, whatever you got on hand to add some crunch to it. Cacao nibs would be another really great thing to give some chocolate flavor. And 5th was to find some ways to add a nutritional boost. Sliced bananas, or a little sprinkle of cinnamon, or maybe even, you know, a little sprinkle of ground flaxseed. All of those things together transforms a sandwich into something amazing. So you know what I'm after. I'm after the taste test. So let's go. Let's get to it. I'm going to try it right now. Look at that. All those blueberries in there look just beautiful. Mmm. That is so good. So much peanut butter flavor. Just so good. Let me tell you, I could eat this every day, and Sean will be my witness. I do eat this a lot. I love peanut butter. So finding a way to eat it healthy is just the way to go. I love it. So now it's your turn. I want to hear from you. What are your favorite hacks? I'm sure you have some things that you do to your PB&J that makes it a little bit healthier. I want to hear from you. Leave a comment. I will look forward to hearing from you, and maybe I'll even try experimenting some of your hacks as well. So thank you for joining me today. I had such a wonderful time. And if you like today's recipe, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more recipes coming your way every week. Bite number 2.